Hello everyone and welcome to my new channel. I'm so excited to share my watercolor process here with you in this channel, guys. And for today in this tutorial we'll explore a variety of watercolor techniques, color mixing, and also I'm going to demonstrate the material I'm using for this painting. I'm using watercolor paper, which is 100 GSM cotton paper for wet on wet technique. This technique allows for beautiful color blending and soft transition of skin tone. So I'm wetting the entire face with clean water until the paper is wet. I begin applying color where needed, and I'm focusing on building up the skin tone. And for this one, I'm using a combination of carmine and ochre. I usually use different color for skin tone, and I should say that it depends on my reference photo. An important thing that you should remember is for the first layers you need to maintain tea consistency, like 30% pigment or color and 70% of water. In this way, the paint or the color flow across the damp paper, so creating soft and blended transition is actually the characteristic of wet on wet technique. Now let's focus on the hair. I'm again starting with wetting my paper, but this time the hair area. This keeps the paint flowing smoothly and prevents harsh lines. And because it's in the first layers, I'm adding color in tea consistency wash of color. As you can see, I'm building up the general shapes and shadows of the hair, and actually we should focus on the overall tones and placement of the hair, not the fine details. And be careful, your wash shouldn't hold a lot of water while you are painting wet on wet because it can remove your previous pigment on paper, so remember to control the water. Here I made my color that I'm using, and I'm generally adding on my paper, adding depth and richness without muddying the color. So I'm going to make a video about how avoid muddying the color, but right now we're just talking about this painting, so it is really important to keep the bright area clean and white, because in watercolor we can't add white or brighten any area after we just painted or pigmented somewhere. For this painting, I'm using my White Nights palette. This is one of my favorite watercolor set because of rich, vibrant pigment that has excellent color saturation and depth. Right now, I'm using the 24 color set, which offers wonderful range for mixing and achieving a variety of shades. And also, about my brushes for this piece are the Da Vinci and Tintoretto, and also I'm using the master brushes. I find these brushes to be incredibly high quality. They're so comfortable to handle, and actually they provide excellent control. They're perfect for creating both broad washes and fine details in the portrait. For the hair, I'm using a combination of burnt umber and cobalt blue, and for the lighter highlights in the hair, I'm using ochre to give it a warm golden glow. In the darkest area, I'm adding burnt umber and a touch of black to achieve a rich, deep shadow. And remember that watercolor is a patient medium. The process benefits greatly from working in multiple layers. Here, with dry brush technique and a tissue, I can lift off and remove some of the color and create some highlights. Because the paper is still wet, I can remove color to create those highlights in the hair, adding brightness to my painting. And I recently just added a Da Vinci watercolor detail brush to my collection, and I'm absolutely love it. The long fine hairs of this brush allow for small details. The longest hairs offer both control and flexibility to paint the fine hairs of like the eyebrows or maybe the eyelashes. And I usually prefer using ceramic palettes for watercolor and gouache paintings. Their smooth surface prevents paint and actually keeping color fresh and vibrant for longer mixing and blending times, and it is so easy to clean. So I usually try to use these palettes. Now I'm adding more details on my painting with a wet brush and dry surface with more paint and less water because it's the last layer of my painting. So at the end, I'm using a soft flat brush and a Prussian blue wash for the background. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to my new channel for more art tutorials. See you in my next video.